Okay, this video goes with packet 2, which deals with more of our circle vocabulary. We're going to focus on finding the circumference of a circle and the length of an arc, and also the area of a circle and the area of a sector. So let's see what they have here. So here they want us to find the circumference of the circle. The circumference formula, circumference is 2 pi r, which everybody should have memorized. Another variation is pi times the diameter. Since twice the radius is the same thing as the diameter, then pi times the diameter is the same thing as 2 pi r. So diameter divided by 2 equals pi equals the radius, or the radius times 2 equals the diameter. Those are some basic conversions that you may need to do. When we get to the area formula, area is pi r squared. So you're given a diameter, you got to change it to radius and then square it times pi. And usually we're going to use 3.14 for pi on these. So these are the main formulas that we're going to use today on these. For B, they want us to find the length of the arc, which is a part of the circumference. It's actually a fraction of the circumference. If I think about this central angle of 160 degrees, the arc that goes with that 160 degrees is this part right here, which is part of the circumference. It's actually 160 over 360, 160 3/60ths of the circumference. It's a fraction of the circumference, and we can get at that by doing the central angle. Usually we call it theta. So theta over 360 times c is going to give us the arc length. We're going to see that theta over 360 times a gives us what we call the sector area. So the central angle over 360 gives us a fraction of a circle. If we're talking about the arc length, then you're dealing with the circumference, so use the circumference formula. If we're dealing with the pi-shaped piece and the area of the pi, then we're going to do theta over 360 times the area. Okay, so let's see what we're doing here with exercises 1 through 3. They want us to find the circumference of this circle. So the diameter is 12, but for circumference we need 2 pi r, or pi d. We could just do pi d and have 12 pi as the diameter, or as the circumference rather. And if we use 3.14 for pi, let's see what we get. So we do 12 times 3.14, and we get 37.68. Let's see, it doesn't tell us any rounding, so I get 37.68. And they didn't give us units, so we can get by without units. Here they want us to find the radius, and they're giving us that part of the circle, basically given by this 120 degree central angle, comes out to be 12. So what went on with this one is that 120 over 360 times the circumference came out to be 16, and they want us to find the radius. So now 120 over 360 is the same thing as 1/3. So 1/3 of the circumference is 16. Now I can go by this, and if 1/3 of the circumference is 16, if I multiply by 3, the circumference is 48. Now I can figure out the radius using the circumference formula. We have 48 equals pi r squared. No, equals 2 pi r. I started to do area there. We're going to divide 48 by 2 pi, and that's going to give us r. So pi is 3.14, 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. So basically we're doing 48 divided by 6.28, and that's going to give us the radius for number 2. So 48 divided by 6.28 comes out to be 7.64. So the radius is 7.64. And let's look at number 3. Number 3, they're giving us the radius, they're giving us a central angle. They want us to find this arc length. So the arc length is going to be the fraction of the circle. It's 80 over 3/60ths. So we put 80 over 360. Now 80 over 360 simplifies to 4 over 18, which is 2 over 9. So I can actually look at this as 2/9. So 2/9 times the circumference is going to be this arc length from A to B. Now we can see that the radius is 5. And again, we've got pi is 3.14. So we can plug everything in. 2/9 times 2 pi r times 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 5, is going to give us the arc length. So let's see what we got. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 times 3.14 times 5 and then divide by 9. So 2 times 2 times 3.14 times 5, 62.8 divided by 9 comes out to be 6.977, so 6.98. So the arc length AB is equal to 6.98. This is our answer for that one. So for this one, we wanted the arc length, which is 80 3/60ths of the circumference. So that's basically what we had to do here. Here we had that 1/3, 1/20 3/60ths, which is 1/3 of the circumference came out to be 16, which means the whole circumference was 48, and we could figure out the r that went with that. And then over here, we had to figure that half the diameter was the radius, and 2 times the radius times pi, or pi times the diameter, came out to be 37.68. Okay, let's look at the next page. So we will find the area of a circle and regions of circles. Let's see what we have here. For number 1, we want to find the area of the shaded region. Now area, we're dealing with area formula, pi r squared. So if they give us diameter, we got to get radius and square it times pi. If they give us radius, we square it times pi. If they give us what the area is equal to, then we have to see what we do with that. Number 3, we may not be able to do. We'll see what happens. We'll talk about that when we come to it. But let's look at number 1. Now, number 1, if the diameter is 10, the radius is half the diameter. So d divided by 2 equals the radius. The radius is 5. That's going to be important for that part. So the radius is 5, and then we want to find the area of the shaded region. Now they're showing us that half the circle is shaded. Here's the diameter. We're talking about half the circle. So we have half the area. And half the area is 1/2 pi r squared. And r is 5. So we have 1/2 times 3.14 times 5 squared is going to give us the area of the shaded region. So I'm going to do 3.14 times 25 and divide by 2. 3.14 times 25, 78.5, and I'm going to divide by 2 because we're doing half the circle. So 39.25. And we're talking about centimeters for our units. So since we're dealing with area units, centimeters squared are going to be our units. So we have 39.25 centimeters squared for our area. And that's half the circle. Let's see what we got for number 2. Number 2, this outside arc is 300 degrees, which means the inside arc is 60 degrees. So we've got a 60-degree arc. So 63/60ths, which is 1/6 of the circle. 60 over 360. 6 goes into 36 6 times. So I get 1 over 6. So 1/6 of the area of the circle is the shaded part here, and our radius is 4. So we've got 1/6 area is the shaded area, and 1/6 of pi r squared. And r was 4, so 4 squared. So we have basically 1 times 3.14 times 16 divided by 2 is going to be the area of the shaded region. So 3.14 times 16 gives us 50.24, and then I need to divide by 2. So we get 25.12. And we're dealing with inches, and we're dealing with area, so we have square inches. 25 area is 25.12 inches squared. Okay, now this one I don't think we can actually do. We can figure out the area of the whole sector and then minus the area of the triangle. But the trouble is, we really don't have a way of finding the area of this triangle. It's a 60-degree triangle here. This is a 60. It's isosceles, so those are all going to be 60s. But we're really going to have to kind of go into the special triangle thing here to do this. So this angle here is going to be a 30. This angle here is a 60. If this length here is 2, using a 30, 60, 90 triangle, we have 1 radical 3, 2 for the ratio of the side lengths. So if this is a 2, this short side is going to be a 1, and the altitude of this triangle is going to be square root of 3 times 1, or square root of 3. So now we can do the problem with special triangles. We're going to do the big area, sector area, minus the triangle area. So the sector area has a 60-degree angle. That's going to be 60 3/60ths times pi r squared times 3.14, and the radius was 2 times 2 squared. And then we're going to have to subtract the area of the triangle, which is 1/2 base. Now the base of this triangle is 2, and the height we saw from special triangles is square root of 3. So that's what we need to do. Now this is 1/6, so I'm going to do 3.14 times 2 squared divided by 6, take away whatever this other part comes out to be. So let's see, so 3.14 times 4 is 12.56, and we need to divide that by 6, since 60 3/60ths is 1/6 of the circle. That area is going to be 1/6 of the circle area. So we got to divide by 6. That gives us 2.09. And we need to subtract off the area of the triangle, which the 2's cancel out here, is going to be the square root of 3. Second square root 3 equals, which is 1.73. And what's left over is going to be the shaded area. So let me see what we get. Find the difference from 2.09. We get 0.357 or 0.36. And we're talking about feet. So 0.36 feet squared is going to be the answer for this one. So here's one where if we didn't know the special triangle ratio thing, or if I didn't know the special triangle thing, I wouldn't be able to do this problem because we don't know what the altitude is of that triangle. Okay, let's move on. Find the circumference and area of each one. Find the area of each, use the calculator's value for pi. So I'm going to use 3.14. So the area is pi r squared. Change colors. Area equals pi r squared. And so for this one, the area is going to be 3.14 times 12 squared, which is 144. And we're going to have inches squared for our units. So 3.14 times 144 comes out to be 452.16. So 452.16 square inches is our answer for number 1. Second, number 2, we have 14 kilometers. So the area is going to be 3.14 times 14 squared. That's 196. So 3.14 times 196 gives us 3.14 times 196, 615.44. And we're doing area, so we got kilometers squared. Second, number 3, radius is 9. 9 squared is 81. So we're going to have 81 times pi, since we're doing pi r squared. So 81 pi is going to be the area for number 3. And we're in meters squared. So 81 times pi, 81 times 3.14, comes out to be 254.34. And that's meters squared. Looking at number 4, we got an 11. 11 squared is 121. So area is going to be 121 pi and centimeters squared. So 121 times pi comes out to be 379.94. And we got square centimeters. Okay, here they're not giving us a picture, but they are giving us the radius. So again, area is pi r squared. So r is 2.6. So this is going to be 3.14 times 2.6 squared. And we're going to have inches squared for our units for our answer. So 2.6 squared times 3.14 comes out to be 21.23 if I round it to 2 places. And it's going to be inches squared. So answers for those. Okay, here we have a radius of 34.1. So again, we're doing pi r squared. So pi times 34.1 squared is going to be the area. Just put 4. So 34.1. Square it. We get 1162.8. And we multiply times pi. Gives us 3651.22. 3651.22, and we're dealing with inches squared. Second, number 7. Radius is 13.2, so we're going to do 13.2 squared times 3.14. We have 547.11, rounded off to 2 decimal places, and it's going to be kilometers squared. And here we have a radius of 29.9 kilometers. So radius squared times pi is going to be our area. So I'm going to do 29.9 squared. And that goes times pi. Gives us 2807.14. And we're dealing with kilometers squared. Okay, let's see what we got for this one. Find the circumference. Use the calculator's value, round the answer to the nearest tenth. So we're going to one decimal place. So the radius is 8. We want the circumference. Now the circumference is 2 times pi times r. So we're going to do 2 times pi times 8, which gives me 16 times pi, which is 16 times 3.14. And that's going to be our circumference, and we're going to have miles as our units. So 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. And our units are going to be miles. Since we're dealing with distance around, it's linear miles. There's no squares. Here, same thing. 2 pi r is equal to c, so 2 times 8.3 is 16.6. So that times pi is going to be our circumference. We have 2 times r times pi. 16.6 times 3.14 is 52.12. And we're dealing with yards. So the distance around 52.12 yards. Let's move on. Now this page here is a duplicate of the one we just did. This page here has different problems on it. So let's see what we got with this. We're still finding circumference. So we got 2 times pi times r. So this is going to be 2 times 3.14 times 4.2. Over here, c equals 2 times 3.14 times 6.2. Here we have c equals 2 times 3.14 times 5.2. Here we have c equals 2 times 3.14 times 11.1. Here, 9.5 inch radius, c is equal to 2 times 3.14 times 9.5. And over here, c is equal to 2 times 3.14 times 9.3. Okay, so hope there are no questions on this. Let me go ahead and run these through the calculator. So 2 times 3.14 times 5.2 is 32.66. And we're talking about feet. 32.66 feet. Over here, 2 times 3.14 times 11.1, 69.71. And it's going to be feet. Here, times 9.5, 59.66. And that's going to be inches. last one here, 2 times 3.14 times 9.3 is 58.40. And it's in terms of inches. So notice I'm trying to carry my units through, trying to keep track as I go, and make sure I carry them on through. Here we want to find the radius, and they're giving us their circumference. So we need to kind of work our c equals 2 pi r backwards. So c is equal to 2 pi r, which is 2 times 3.14 times r. And basically, if we do the circumference divided by 2 times 3.14, we're going to have our r. And 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. So c divided by 6.28 is going to be the radius for each one of these circles. So that's really all I have to do. So 60, that's going to give me 10 for this one. 62.8 divided by 6.28 is going to give me 10. The radius is 10. And they're dealing with miles. So 10 miles is the radius for number 17. The next one, we're going to do 69.1 divided by the 6.28. And that's 11.00. And that's in terms of yards. So 11 yards is the radius. Here we got a circumference of 12.6 yards. So we're going to do 12.6 divided by 6.28. And that's 2.00. That's yards. And over here, we have feet for the circumference. So we're going to be doing 25.1 divided by 6.28, which is a 2 pi. So 25.1 divided by 6.28 is 3.99. We got a carry, which is 4.00 if we round it. And it's in terms of feet. So that's how we could, given the circumference, plug it into the formula. Basically, we're dividing by 2 pi to get r by itself. C divided by 2 pi is going to be the radius. Okay, here they're giving us areas. So from the area, we can figure out what the radius is. And then once we figure out the radius, we're going to have to double it because we're looking for the diameter. Now it says use your calculator's value of pi. So we're going to use like 3.14. So let's look at how the area formula would work with this one. Area is pi r squared. So area divided by pi is going to be r squared. Area divided by pi and take the square root of it is going to end up being our radius. And then we're going to have to do radius times 2 to give the diameter. So that's what's going on with each one of these. So we're starting with 2.01.1 divided by pi, take the square root of it, and then double it. So 201.1 divided by pi, I'm using 3.14. That's 64.04, and I'm going to take the square root. That's going to come out to be 8. So the radius is 8, and the diameter then is going to be twice the radius. So r equals 8, diameter equals 16 for number 21. 22, same idea. Basically, I'm doing the area because I worked this ahead of time. Divide, get r by itself. Divide pi out of both sides. A divided by pi equals r squared. Take the square root of both sides. You got r is equal to the square root of a divided by pi. So here we have 78.5 for the area. I'm going to divide that by 5. $15.7, and I'm going to take the square root of that. It gives me 3.96, and then I'm going to double it to make it a diameter. That gives me 7.92 feet. Okay, so again for this one we did area divided by pi, 78.5 divided by 3.14. Then we take the square root of that, and that was our radius. And then 2 times the radius gave us the diameter. So those are the steps. Here we want to find the circumference. So we're going to use the area to find the radius. And then once we have the radius, we can do pi r squared. So the area is 64 pi. So we're going to do 64 pi. Now they're leaving pi as the units on this one. So this is just like the other one that we did before to find the radius. We've got area equals pi r squared. R is going to be the square root of whatever a divided by pi is. Take the square root of that. That's going to be our r that we need. And we'll find the circumference. So then we're going to be doing 2 times pi times r for the circumference. So those are the steps. So the area is 64. So 64, the area is 64 pi. 64 pi divided by pi leaves us just with 64. I take the square root of that, I get 8. The circumference is 2 times 3.14 times 8. Should be an 8. So 2 times 3.14 times 8 is 50.24. Okay, number 24, the area is 16 pi. So I'm going to be doing 16 pi divided by pi. That leaves just with 16. And if I take the square root of 16 then, I'm going to have the radius. That's going to be 7.1. And if I double 7.1, I get 14.2. Let's look at, here we want to find the area. So from circumference, we're going to get the radius, and then we're going to use the formula. So circumference is 2 pi r. The circumference is 6 pi. 6 pi equals 2 pi r. Divide both sides by 2 pi, we get 3 equals r. So r is equal to 3. So the circumference of this circle is going to be 2 pi r. 2 times 3.14 times r, which is 3. And we get 6 times 3.14. Is 18.84 yards. That would be our circumference for number 25. Same thing for number 26. We are going to Find the radius. So 22 pi equals the circumference, which is 2 times pi times r. We're going to divide the 2 pi out of both sides. That gives 11 is equal to r. And the area is going to be pi r squared. So it's going to be 121 times pi. And it's going to be inches squared. Now, let's see, 121 times 3.14 comes up to be 379.94 inches squared. Your answer for that one. Find the radius of a circle so its area and circumference have the same value. I ran into one of these today on the other worksheet. It turns out for a radius of 2, we have a circle where that works. Let's look here. So I've got a radius of 2. I want to find the circumference and the area. So circumference is 2 pi r, which is 2 times 3.14. And I want to say the radius is 2. It gives me 6.28 times 2. Which is 12.56. And we're dealing with, doesn't say. So circle with radius 2 has a 12.56. Now let's do the same thing for area. So area is pi r squared. If r is 2, we have pi times 2 squared, which is pi times 4. And 4 times 3.14 comes out to be 12.56. So I wonder if it would work for 4. Let's see, 8 pi versus 16 pi. It's not going to work for 4, so it works for 2.